All right, we are going live. So today I'm going to teach you the number one skill to have to become a millionaire in 2025. So go on and say, I see a lot of you guys here in the chat. Say hi to your boy. Let's go over here to Facebook and get up Instagram as well. So okay, so let's talk about it. as we get as we get Facebook up and going. We got YouTube over here. What's up, family? We're gonna get Instagram over here. Today, I'm gonna teach you the number one skill to have to become a millionaire in 2025. As you guys know, my name is Jamil Frazier. I am the founder of Think Life is Different, where we help you get your money in your investing right. So the number one skill to have, I've really have come to terms with this. As you know, I have helped so many people, and my company has helped so many people, and I just get a chance to hang out with people who do very, very, very well. Like the rest of the world will look at these people and be like, you realize you're in the top 5, 10, 15% of people who earn money in the entire world, right? Like I get to hang out um with these people all the time, which is actually really, really fun. And it's actually something that I felt really called to be honest with you. And maybe it's just because of where I've been able to come in my life and the people that I've been able to serve and mentor over the past decade or so. But here's the thing that I know to be true. It doesn't matter what the person's income is, their habits tend to be the same. And this is why I constantly and I consistently keep saying that it's not, I know a lot of times we are just so focused on how much we're earning. We're waking up every single day, we're going to our jobs, we're building our businesses, and we're thinking, how can I scale revenue? How can I scale income so I can go get the next thing or so that I can get a step closer to freedom? And I remember it well. Like I remember September 6th, 2012, I left my full-time job to go on this crazy journey of building my own business, starting my own organization. People thought I was absolutely crazy. People in my house thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was crazy. Mentors thought I was crazy. Hell, at times I thought I was crazy, but there was just something that had stirred up in me so much that was like, I'd rather be broke and poor on the street than to go another day not living a life of freedom that I really, really wanted. And I thought naively, I said, if I could just start working for myself, I'm going to be free. Then I started working for myself and I realized I had given myself a job. All I did was just created this job that never had an end point. Like before, at least I had like a 9 to 5, but now when I went out on my own as a small business owner, I literally worked like way more than I ever did when I was an employee. And then I had to figure, okay, well, listen, how can I scale this? How can I now like start moving myself, just myself out of the picture? And how can I start to scale this enterprise so that I can actually be free? This whole thing was about chasing freedom. Naively, I thought, man, if I could just get my own personal income to $10,000 a month, I'd be free. And then I thought, well, if I can get it to $18,000 a month, I'd be free. This way, I don't have to worry about what my wife is doing. If she wants to go work, awesome. Keep teaching. If she doesn't and wants to stay home with the kids, awesome. Do you do whatever you want, but I should be making enough at that time that I don't have to worry about what she's doing and worrying about her income. And like, I got this family. I'm the man of this family. I'm providing the way I'm supposed to, and I should be able to live life the way that I want to. I got to $18,000 a month and I realized this ain't enough. Like I got to keep chasing freedom. And then from there went to the next thing and the next thing and next thing. And I realized, wow, this is crazy. Here's the number one skill that you need to become a millionaire in 2025. And it's not making more money. It's not your sales skills. It's not your interpersonal skills. It's not your communication skills. It's not your is not your marketing skills. It's not your ability to communicate with AI. It's not any of that stuff. It's not how hard you work. It's none of that stuff. Here's the number one thing that you need. You ready for it? The number one skill that you need to become exceedingly wealthy and to become a millionaire in 2025 is a skill that nobody is talking about, and that skill is called planning. Did you know that planning was a skill? Most people don't know that planning is a skill. Did you know that you can get good at planning? Did you know that you can become an expert at planning? Did you know that you can develop the mindset, the skill set, and actions to be a great planner? Here's what I've learned with sitting with all of these people, mentoring thousands of business owners, helping people scale their income, their wealth, their businesses for over a decade, impacting over 300,000 lives, writing three best-selling books. I'm on my fourth, by the way. And like, here's what I realized. The people that fail to plan are also failing or planning to fail. The number one skill that you need is a planning skill. It isn't how you recruit. It isn't like what sort of people you can bring into your organization. It isn't your ability to persuade. It isn't your scale sales skills. It isn't you. If you want to do well in life, you need to plan to do well in life. This doesn't just like magically happen. Like I remember when I started my business back in 2012. And one thing that I didn't even know that I was doing, because I didn't know that this was a skill. Like I was just listening to a lot of people. People would say to do stuff, like how you're watching this video or how you might be watching this podcast or this live. Like I'm just saying to do stuff. And I was listening to all these people, and I didn't know if it would work. I just trusted. What do they call it? Having blind faith, right? And so I just had blind faith, and I was like, oh, these people, I want to be where they are at. Let me listen to them and see. I don't know if this is going to work. I have no idea. I have no proof. I can't demonstrate it for you. But here's what I'm going to do. If they say to plan and write out step by step exactly what you would like to see happen, and to write out step by step exactly what this year, next year, the next 5, 10, 15 years is going to look like, I bet you it happens. And what's so idiotic about it is I probably should have known. Like I probably should have known. Why is that? Well, I remember back when I got engaged, and you guys talk to me in the comments. Maybe you've done this before as well. What have you planned for in your life that has come true? Like, what have you strategically, you wrote down, you were like, this is exactly what is going to happen, whether that was getting into a higher level education, whether that was marrying that special someone that you wanted, whether that was getting the job that you wanted, maybe that was like building the company or the organization that you wanted, maybe it was what I'm about to tell you, but we got engaged in 2008, my wife and I. She still says that I proposed to her. I say she proposed to me. I don't know. It's a running joke. But we got engaged 4th of July, 2008. And we decided to have our wedding in September 2009. So it's about a good, what, 13, 14, 15 months away. As we started meeting with all of these vendors, right, where are we going to have the wedding? Where are we going to get the hors d'oeuvres and the food and the refreshments and the linen and all this stuff? We started to notice right away that dang man, like this price and this budget is starting to expand. And as we started thinking, man, we want to invite more and more friends and family to this wedding. So eventually our list got well over 200 people. And so as we looked at this budget, we saw we're going to need about $30,000 to have this wedding that we want. Now, listen, I'm only, maybe 27 at the time. I think my wife is 23 at the time. I think I made maybe $60,000 a year. She was at like $24,000 a year. So let's just say we had a household income of $80,000 a year, and this is before taxes are taken out, right? So maybe our household income was somewhere closer to about $65,000. So about $5,000 a month, right? Somewhere around there, $5,500 a month. Hold that number in your head. So we said, okay, well, man, we got about 13, 14, 15 months until this wedding. Let's make a plan on how we're going to save money so that we can actually pay for this wedding. So I said, you know what? We got about a year. We need to save up about maybe 2,500, $3,000 a month, right? Somewhere in between there. Let's just call it $2,600 a month, where we were to collectively, we were only bringing in about $5,000 a month. So we needed to start saving half of our income so that we could pay for this wedding. Well, sure enough, a year later, guess how much money we had? We had about $25,000, and Amanda's dad was nice enough to let us have another handful of thousands, right? Why am I telling you this story? Because these two knucklehead kids that were not making very much money ended up saving up over $25,000 in a 12-month time period. Now watch this, watch this, watch this. That was in 2009. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. 5 years had passed, and we had never, ever, ever saved more than $1,000 a year. And when we did save that money, my wife was a teacher. And so on a month she was not working, we took whatever we saved up, whether it was 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then we sort of furloughed it over to her so that we can pay her portion of the bills. So we were never, ever, ever got ahead. Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is for those 5 years, we never sat down and planned the way that we planned for that one year. And why didn't we? Because we didn't know it was a skill. We didn't know planning was a skill. Planning is the key that will set you apart from everybody else. You have to plan to be happy. You have to also plan to be poor. You have to plan to be wealthy. You have to plan to be a great parent. You have to plan to be a great father. You have to plan to have a great education. You have to plan to educate yourself. You have to plan to be healthy. You think I'm 44 now. Like it doesn't just happen. If you want to be wealthy, then you need to plan to be wealthy. If you want to be happy, you need to plan to be happy. If you want to live a stress-free life, you have to plan to live a stress-free life. If you want to have these certain accoutrements in life, you have to plan for them. They don't just happen. Just like for those 5 years, they didn't happen. Now, in 2014, I had an awakening. And I said, man, I don't think that I want to live like this anymore. And so I got a little 3x5 card, and it might be here somewhere. And I said, okay, actually, I did this in 2013. I said, in the next 5 years, I want to be a millionaire. And so on this little 3x5 card I have from said 2013 to 2018, and I calculated that I basically would need to like save. I was so young in this, I didn't even know to invest. That's what's crazy. I didn't even know that investing, I just thought if I make enough and I save, I thought I need to save about like, I think the number was like $15,000 a month or something. That's how crazy. I didn't know. I did not know. So I thought if I save my way to a million, like I could do that. If I got 60 months and let's just do it because maybe my math is, so if I got $15,000 a month times 60 months. I'm at 900,000. So it's like, that's how crazy I was. I didn't even know to invest the dang money. I thought if I saved 15, $16,000 a month, then if I do that for the next 5 years, I finally get to 1 million. I didn't even know that if I invest that money, I would get there a hell of a lot sooner, probably in like 2.5 years or something. That's how crazy it was. That's how I'm trying to tell you, like, it's never too late for you. It's never too late for you because even with that, I was setting up a plan, but that plan sucked. But at least I had some sort of plan in a little 3x5 card, and I kept it on my computer, and I looked at it every day. It was like $15,666 a month over the next 60 months. I should get there. And so now, if I needed to do that, now the plan starts. Okay, I have the plan for the income, but what's also the plan for my expenses? If I'm serious about that, like I was serious about that wedding, then there's a lot of things that I need to move myself into. I need to move myself into a deficit. When we decided to save up, the $25,000 or whatever in a year, we also had decided at that point we had to have that we were going to move our life into a deficit, that we weren't going to be going out all the time with our friends. If we did go out, then we were going to eat before we went out. We weren't going to be having $200, $300 nights on drinking and all the stuff, right? So now the plan has to now include some sort of deficit. I got to have some sort of boundaries around my habits, my mindset, and the things that I actually do. I have to. Why? Because I need my plan calls for this. My plan also is going to call for that I can't just like plan it once and then forget about it. My plan is going to call for that I'm constantly monitoring this plan. I'm looking at this plan every single day. I'm changing the course of directions if I need to. I'm sitting down with my significant other with a mentor and I'm going over, I'm having somebody hold me accountable. My plan also calls for I got to get a part of a group that also thinks like this, that's going to keep getting me inspired and motivated. And I can also give them some inspiration and motivation, but I need that accountability. So I got to have a different group. If that group requires me to grow across state lines, and this is something that I must do. I have to put myself into a new environment. This plan is going to require that I have a 360-degree thought process and not just a 180. This plan is going to require that I start thinking in decades and not just thinking in days, that I have a long-term outlook instead of a short-term emotional conniption. This plan is going to cause me to act differently, to walk differently, to think differently, to look differently, to show up differently. This plan is going to change everything about me, and I'm going to have to take 100% personal responsibility for the things that I do. I cannot blame anymore. I cannot wait for the system or for government or for my wife or for a friend to come save me. No, I must, from the inside out, from myself, then to my family, then to my community, then to my state, then to my country, then to the world. I got to have an impact and an effect on this plan. I can't wait for outside sources to have an effect that's going to affect my plan. No, I now wake up every single day and I affect me, which is going to affect this plan, which is going to affect the outside sources. This is how it starts, but it all starts with a plan. If you don't have the plan or you don't have the skills for the plan, then you are going to have massive chaos. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. How do I know? Because I build plans for people dang near every single day. For example, I'm looking at a plan that I have up for one of our new students right now. And these are people that make about a household income, they earn about $15,000 a month. Now, when I first started working with them, well, when we first spoke, they told me that they budgeted well. And then we really got down to it, and they made about $15,000 a month household income. But what they did not know was that they were spending about $19,000 a month. They did not know that until I held their hand to the fire and walked through it with them. Outside of me doing this, they would say something crazy like, I don't need anybody to help me do that. I can do it myself. History is going to be your best teacher. Let me just say this again. History is going to be your best teacher. And because they were not doing that, they were living such a laissez-faire life, their life was in shambles. Even though they're making $15,000 a month, they live paycheck to paycheck. And worse, why? Because they spend 18,000. Now, let me just ask you, because you're pretty smart. If you only make 15 and you spend 18, where do you got to get the other $3,000 from? Where does it come from? It's got to come from somewhere. Now, let me ask you this. If you are spending an extra $3,000 a month that you don't have, my friend, that's an extra $36,000 a year. Where are they getting an extra $36,000 a year from? Here's the answer. You know it and I know. It's called credit. And if I spend an extra $36,000 a year that I don't have, and I look up 5 years later, then I'm $100,000 in debt. And now when I'm $100,000 in debt, I'm freaking out, kind of, unless I'm living in delusion like most people tend to be. Now I have to figure out, how do I now take equity out of this house to cover up some bad habits that I've had for the last 5 years. And maybe I take out a second mortgage, or maybe I take out a HELOC, but somehow I need some sort of big freaking Band-Aid because I've been overspending. Why? Because I didn't plan. I didn't plan to be wealthy. I planned to make $15,000 a month, but I did not plan to keep this money. I did not plan to grow this money, and I did not plan to protect this money. And because I only plan one part of how to make money, the other three are absolutely abysmal. And now I'm trying to figure out, how do I solve this riddle? How do I solve this riddle? Do I need to get more personal loans? Do I need to get a HELOC? Do I need to take out a second mortgage on my home? Do I fake and like, do I like, okay, I'm just gonna say this because this is the type of family that I grew up in. Mom, if you're watching, you know I'm telling truth. So part of I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. I grew up on welfare. Listen, some of the most industrious people on earth are poor people. Man, we figure stuff out, you guys. I'm just telling you. We figured out so much stuff when I was growing up. Cashing checks when you ain't got no money in the bank, we were great with that. Using kids' names and social security numbers, we were great with that. I probably had bad credit since I was 10 years old. I probably had bad credit since I was 10 years old. Why? Because we're industrious. We figure stuff out. We will figure stuff out. One of the things that we figured out was people don't like to be sued. And so we would walk into grocery stores, kind of put a little bit of water on the floor, slip and fall, hurt ourselves, and say, hey, if you don't want a big lawsuit, let's just go on and settle this thing for X amount of dollars. Believe it or not, people will do things like that to try to cover up for bad habits and for a history of poor decision-making process. Okay, like I have seen the wildest things that try to take place of poor planning, of poor planning. So here's my encouragement to you. First of all, say what's up. Like we got YouTube over here going crazy. We got Facebook. What's up? Instagram's always going crazy. I feel like my IG is going crazy. Facebook, sometimes you guys right here, Facebook, sometimes you guys are like, you guys are all in. Comments go crazy. Sometimes I'm like, are you guys Why are you guys watching? Don't even say nothing? No, I'm just kidding. I love everybody's views and stuff, man. I really appreciate the support. Um, plan. Plan to win. Plan your life. Plan for excess. Plan for freedom. Freedom is never free. This couple that I just told you about, $15,000 a month household income and not free. I asked about their goals. Let me, I asked about their goals. So some of the goals was like to get into real estate investing. By the way, they have no savings and they have no investments. They're about 45 years old. No savings, no investments, and make $15,000 a month. Listen to that. No savings, no investments. And it's not like I'm not minimizing what they're doing. What I'm telling you is how you get like that is you don't plan. You haven't planned for it. You're not a great planner. The number one skill that you need is to be a great planner. So they want to get into real estate investing. They want to start investing in something that grows over time. They want to leave something behind for their children. They have four beautiful kids, and those are all the husband's goal. The wife has one goal. Her goal is to pay off all the debt. Why is that her goal? Because it's not allowing her to be free. It's stressing her out. And when you're stressed out like that, you are not free. And if you're not free because you haven't planned to be free. Think about Harriet Tubman. I think about my ancestors a lot. I think about my ancestors a lot. When I talk about freedom, and I always say freedom is never free. There's always a price to be paid to be free. Once you figure out what your life is going to look like, once you're free, I promise you to get there, it is not going to be free. There's going to be many, many prices that you're going to have to pay in order to get there. That's why people never get there because they don't want to make those sacrifices. They say that they want it, but then when it's time to come down to it, you see who's for real and you see who just talk. You see who's all bark and you see who actually bites. You see um who is um somebody that has knowledge versus that person who's a practitioner. Because whenever you want any type of freedom in your life, you will have to pay a price and you will have to sacrifice. And most people don't want to do that. If you want to lose some weight, you will have to pay a price because you're going to have to go into a deficit. And people don't want to go into a deficit. They say that they do, but they don't. What they'll want to do instead of eating less, they'll try to work out more. It's like, no, bro, just stop eating so damn much. But that's hard. You have to pay a price. What is that price? Hunger, fatigue, a little irritability. They don't want to pay that price. And that's why it blows my mind when people talk about wealthy people as if they just like there's only like 4 or 5% of people who are wealthy that were actually inherited wealth. Most wealthy people are like they have done it because they've done it. And so when people are like, "Oh my gosh, these wealthy people," and sort of look down, I'm like, you don't understand what it took to get there. It's easy to look down and it's easy to have opinions, but they likely did things that you can do but are unwilling to do and you haven't planned to do because it is easy to do. It's just easier not to do. And that's why most people don't want to do it because they want freedom. You want freedom, but you don't want to pay the price. And it is going to require a price. I go back to my ancestors. You got 100, 200 slaves on a plantation, right? 10% of them, 10 to 20, say, let's get up out of here. Let's go get free. And they go to all the other people and they say, hey, we're about to bounce. And the other people say, don't do that. What if you get caught? That's too high of a price to pay. We're going to stay here because at least here we know what tomorrow's going to look like. Tomorrow's going to suck. It's going to be full of stress. It's going to be hot. We might even get beat. But damn, I would rather have that than to go out on the unknown and then get caught and have to pay the price, which might be death. So I'd rather stay here in something that's mediocre, doesn't feel good, that's stressful, that's hot. I don't have autonomy. I don't have freedom. I'm always staying up at night. I'd rather stay here than to go out there and potentially get caught and then potentially die. While the 10% is like, yeah, I might get caught, I might die, but I also might live and I might get freedom. And I'm willing for that trade-off. Whether I'm talking about a slave from 1840 on the plantation in the South, or whether I'm talking about whatever freedom you want right now, it always is going to require sacrifices. It's always going to require deficits, and it's always going to require a price. And if you really, really want that freedom, not just talk about it, but actually are about it, then you also have to be willing for the trade-off, which is to pay that price. What is the price? The price is what other people are not willing to do. Over time, consistently, with a ton of discipline and a lot of faith. That's what it comes down to. So I want to encourage you today, have a plan. The number one skill that you can have is the plan to be wealthy in 2025. I hope that that brought you value. Go on and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a comment, share this video, and check back in for the next live. Go on and subscribe so every time I do go live, you actually get a notification as well. All right. Talk to you soon. Let's see how we get out of here. I never know how to get out of here. If you guys are still here with me, you might hear my kids uh screaming and crying in the background. Is that